Hello, hello.
Okay, here we go. We're together.
How are you?
I am doing very well. How are you?
I cannot complain. It's a beautiful day in Seattle. The mountains are out. You can't see them, but I can see them. The mountains are out. No,
I can
it's
I
a
can
great day.
picture it. It just started raining here. One thing that I've gotten used to living in Atlanta now for the show is that it rains all the time, at least this time of year. But the
Mhm,
rain doesn't last. So
mhm.
it was sunny an hour ago and now it's raining so hard that it looks like there's a shower outside.
And I'm sure it's like that muggy rain that's left over, like the steam coming off the ground. Yeah.
Yep, yep,
I
yep.
I grew up in Kentucky, and like that's how all the summers were. Like it would rain a little bit, and then it was even hotter than it was before.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't cool off the air at all. It just rains.
Okay,
Sweat.
so I'm going to start out by having you clear up some misinformation. This is Mr. Mike Manning, and he plays our beloved Smitty on Beyond the Gates. And I don't know, like a week ago, you posted something. There's a lot of Facebook pages out there that post about the show, and they say a lot of crazy stuff. So you moved to Atlanta. You are not leaving the show, correct?
I'm not leaving the show, and I have no idea where that came from. And it was because somebody had mentioned it to me. Somebody was like, "Oh, Mike, there's an article about you leaving the show," and I kind of laughed it off. And then somebody else mentioned it, and then people started tweeting about it. And there was an article on Facebook, and the title said Mike Manning, Smitty is leaving the show. But then you open the article and you read it, and it had nothing
Nothing.
about me leaving the show. It was about an article that or interview that I had just done with like Good Morning Colorado because that's where I'm from, and
Mhm.
I talk about the show. I talk about loving it. I talk about upcoming storylines, and I kind of drop some hints. Nowhere in there does it say that I'm leaving the show, so I don't know. I don't know what happened. But
Yeah,
I am not leaving for anybody listening and for anybody watching or who's going to watch this. I am not leaving the show. I have no plans on leaving the show. I love the show. I love Smitty. I love Fairmont Crest, and I'm having a blast. So why would I leave? And I'm even this Atlanta rain. I'm getting used to.
and you moved your whole life to Atlanta, so you're not leaving
Absolutely.
the show. Um, you said you love Smitty, you love Fairmont Crest. Talk to me about how it's been to play this character on this brand new soap opera that is like just so much success. It's taken off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very very happy that the show is having the success that it's having. I think CBS is treating the show really really great, and I think it's successful because the world needed a show like this. It's like business 101. You see a need, you fill a need. There have been so many people in the soap fandom for decades that have never felt represented by the genre, that have never had the opportunity to see themselves in these stories and on camera. And so I think now it's crazy to me to think that it took until 2025 to have a show like Beyond the Gates, and I feel like people, people are loving it and feeling appreciated, and the fan support has been amazing. I've never been a part of a show that have the fans have been this engaged with. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, don't get on Twitter after after the shows because they talk a lot of crap, which I think that's what comes with it. It's a lot of good stuff. I mean, I see it, but there's like a lot of like bad stuff, and I'm all about supporting the show. This is why I do this. Like, this is fun for me. Like, I just get to just talk about a show that I love, even though I haven't watched today's episode. Like, I started it. I got to the part where Samantha was asking about gay sex, and then I had to come. I know, right? Um, talk to me about what's been from what we've seen, all the episodes we've seen. What's been like your favorite episode to shoot or to work on?
I mean, you mentioned the part today where Samantha asks about sex, and Smitty is walking in the house, and he has a water bottle, and she asks him about it, and he spits. And I love physical comedy, and so that was fun for me. Anytime I can do something physical, and also I just love bringing comedy to the show in general, because I think sometimes the dialogue can be so dramatic, which people love that, and there's the drama. But I love sort of trying to bring comedic moments there. So today, you just mentioned that today was I love that episode. I mean, there have been so many episodes that I will say this. I am most excited for this next month. I think that for a long time, uh, Smitty was living at home and he was taking care of the kids and being a part of the Richardson family. And that was great. I've never played a father before on a show. I've never played a father that stays at home and tends to the house. And so it was a new experience for me. And listen, power to the people that can do that. And I had fun doing that. I think now what we're going to see is for a while, Smitty was talking about being a reporter, and now we're going to see Smitty actually be a reporter. And I think in yesterday's episode, you saw Smitty meet up with Detective Marcel Malone,
Mhm.
and what starts out as just a casual, oh, it's a puff piece about Marcel Malone, and then Smitty like flips his little notebook with his like Superman glasses on, and he starts digging and I think we're going to see more of that. Not I think, I know we're going to see more of that. And for me, that was really fun to play because you have this duality. I see Smitty as like a young Anderson Cooper. Like he's happy and he's pleasant and he's not very abrasive, but he's calculated and he knows that he's disarming, so he uses that to his advantage, and we're going to see him do that. And I'm not going to give any more spoilers away
Yeah.
because they'll kill me. But
Yes.
yeah, I said I don't want to leave the show. I don't want to leave the show.
Yeah.
uh, but let's just say I can say this. uh, Smitty mentions Joey Armstrong in the episode yesterday.
Hmm.
He's talking to Detective Marcel Malone, who doesn't seem too happy about it, and
You know,
we'll see where
we
that
can
leads.
we can connect the dots.
Yeah.
And I think, and you don't have to comment on this, but I think Smitty is going to be the one to connect the dots. Obviously, he's doing that, and I think he's going to find out what Martin did before Martin actually tells him. Because at this point, we know Vernon and Anita know. We know Bill knows what happened, and now we know Marcel knows what happened. So I think there are just so many people who know that Smitty is now hooking up with or being connected to that. Yeah, that is my soap fan theory for the day on that storyline. So don't say anything else. We want to keep you around. We don't want Michelle and Sheila axing you out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Michelle, Sheila, if you're watching, I love you. Julie, love you all. Please keep me employed. Thank you so much.
Exactly. I do want to go back to representation. It is important that people, and I feel like today in today's episode, or I saw a clip, but I think Chelsea was talking to Madison about how, she's on her phone being an influencer, right? But like a kid in Tulsa might see this. And I think it's the same with this show. Like, this is on CBS, this is network television. And yeah, people don't watch network TV like they used to because everyone's working, right? But the
Mhm.
fact that it's on Paramount Plus and it reaches everyone in the United States, and it's just so important to see a loving gay interracial couple on TV because gay couple on TV because when have we gotten to see that on a soap opera?
As far as I know, we are the first interracial male gay married couple in daytime television, especially with in hour-long television, especially with adopted kids. It's
Mhm.
never happened before, and I respect CBS and Michelle and Sheila and everybody that had a hand in making that happen because that's why we watch TV. That's why we go to the movies. We want to see ourselves in these characters, and even if those characters don't look exactly like us, we want to know that there are other people in the world going through what we're going through, right? And so I think to have a gay couple like this that are going through the trials and tribulations of marriage just like any other marriage. It's my hope that it shows people that, like, look, there are gay couples out there that are just as normal and boring and just trying to be decent human beings as anyone else. And if this show, by playing these characters, if it changes one mind, like you said, somebody sitting at home in their living room that has been a soap fan since the 60s, if it changes one heart and one mind, then I think the show has done its job.
One of the biggest complaints I see about your character in Martin is that we haven't got like the love together. Like we see like a little peck on the cheek or like a hug. So, no spoilers, but like down the line, does Martin, well, no, my gosh, don't talk. We just want to see Smitty and Martin actually like be a loving couple. And right now there's been so much angst. So there's a lot of,
Yeah.
we want like that pressure release. Like it doesn't have to be like a sex scene with sexy sultry music. We just want to see them be like
Oh,
a
listen,
loving
I'm
couple.
ready. I've been working out. Like we gotta no.
There you
Uh,
go.
I can say this. I can say this without giving anything away. Um, the secret changes everything. The secret changes everything, and as soon as I mean, I don't want to say anything else, but that there are very specific reasons for the fans that are saying that they've there has been some distance between them. They're right because clearly there has been. And I will say I am so proud of the writers, the
Mhm.
way that this reveal happens and the way that they show that this secret has infiltrated every aspect of these characters' lives, including their physicality and their love and their attraction and their closeness. So I am really, really, really happy with the way that this reveal happens and the way that it shows viewers just how serious this was and just how much this because Smitty is he's heartbroken right now. He feels that distance, and these men have been married for years. They love each other. They've adopted these kids. They formed this family together, and there's a reason that Smitty is not letting up on this because when you love somebody and they drift away, even if you don't quite know why, you feel that distance, you feel that hole in your chest, you feel that emptiness, and that is what Smitty has been feeling for months now. And so yeah, like everybody's wondering why Smitty's not getting any. So is Smitty. so
Yeah.
so it's like I'm very very proud with the way this reveal happens, and I'm very proud of the work that we did, and I'm very excited for this next month. You and me having this conversation could not have come at a better time because now it's starting. Things are starting to heat up with between Smitty and Martin and the reveal. So I'm very, very anxious to, and I'm not afraid of people giving me their honest opinions. I was on Days of Our Lives for a couple of years, and that fan base was very active. I go on Twitter, I engage with people. So I mean, of course, like this is my job and this is art, and I want to do a good job, and I want people to enjoy it. But if they don't, like if they tell me about it, I don't care. I have a thick skin.
Right. And I mean, you're getting paid and they're not. So,
Yeah,
um,
exactly that too.
right. Yeah. Michelle posted something about, I mean, I'm going to get it wrong, but paraphrasing, basically saying there's a rhyme and reason to everything that we're doing. So, yeah, like to us, you and Martin have done a great job of being a distant couple. And we all picked up on it. And yeah, like there's a reason for that. Like it would be so crazy if you guys were loving and together, and then a month later from now, boom, there's this big secret, and now you're heartbroken. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, like you have to build a world, right? And we have to assume that this has been happening for a while now. Like we started in February, but before then, before we saw them, this has been building. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, that I think your point really hammers home what she posted on Instagram and Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, about they know what they're doing. Some of them have been doing this for decades, so they know how to write a good show.
Yeah, they really do, and we have a lot of trust in the writers, and they really care about it because of what you talked about earlier. This show, it's the first soap in 25 years. It's the first soap that looks like this ever, and Michelle fought very hard. Michelle has been doing this for years and years and years, and she fought very hard to make this show and to have these characters go from being only living inside of her brain to living on screen. And so of course she's going to be putting all the TLC that she has within her to sort of tell these stories.
Okay, so you brought up you were on Days of Our Lives, which admittedly I love Days of Our Lives, but I haven't watched it in a while. So I don't remember you on there. Like, who were you connected to? I know Will is gay. Were you gay on the show?
I was not gay on the show. I was the
Okay.
exact opposite of Smitty.
You were
So
straight.
I played it.
Okay.
I was well, it was I was a straight bad guy. For me, on one hand, Smitty I think is a sweetheart. He's protective. He cares about his family, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. But he's a good guy.
Mhm.
On Days of Our Lives, I played a character called Charlie Dale, who sexually assaulted a woman and kidnapped his mother, and was a really bad guy. So complete opposite
I'm
of
gonna have to
Smitty.
go back on Peacock and watch that. Like, what years were you on the show?
We started filming. It was the first thing that opened back up, or one of the first shows after COVID. So I
Mhm.
started filming in September of 2020. It started airing, I think, February of 2021.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and look because I want to see this. Some people have asked like, "Oh, you're so comfortable doing this." Well, way a long time ago, my freshman year in college, I was talking about Days of Our Lives on YouTube, and it was pretty popular. But then, like, I shut the account down because I'm like, no one cares about soap operas right now. And here I am, what, 15
Yeah,
years
here you
later,
are, brand new soap opera.
a
Yeah, it
brand
was.
new. I care.
Do you know? Did you ever watch when Tamara Braun, Ava Vitale was on?
Yeah, yeah. Like I say the last like big storyline. I mean, I know her, and she actually played a few different characters, right?
She did well. I think on Days she was Ava Vitale, and then on other soaps she was other characters.
Okay,
I
yeah. Like,
think
and she was with Brady, right?
maybe when I
Maybe.
joined the picture, I think maybe, but I think when I joined the picture, so I'm her other son. So Trip is her son.
Yeah. Okay.
Trip is her son, and then he was the good son, doctor, everything else. And then Charlie was her bad son that nobody knew about. And
Mm,
then he comes back into town. He falls in love with Claire Brady,
yeah.
and then he is sort of trying to balance actually loving her with being a super awful human being. And then Ava finds out, threatens to tell the world about Charlie, and then Charlie kidnaps her and ties her up with Christmas lights for the holidays, as you do.
Whenever it's Christmas time, we do that. Thank you so much for talking about that. That's so crazy. I'm gonna go back and watch because I want to see you on the show. You brought up Trip and children. Talk to me about the feedback, I guess you could say, on your kids not looking like teenagers because like that's been a big thing, and I want to talk to the actress who plays Samantha about that. That's been a big thing. Like, so we know Samantha is not, but like we have to suspend disbelief, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, you're talking about Nausea. So
not
I
yeah.
think Nausea, not like Nausea and Jaden playing Samantha and Tyrell are. I'm so grateful that they, just that they're the people that they are. They're so sweet. They're so giving. They work so hard. I mean, we do a ton of pages. We do an episode a day. We're doing 75 pages. Sometimes we have chunks where it's the brownstone and our family, it's either Brandon and I or us two and the kids are handling a lot of material, and they work very very hard, and I think they do a great job.
And
uh and
yeah.
I can empathize, I think, with Samantha, Naja, being her age and then playing a teenager. When I was 25, I played 17 in a Disney movie called Cloud Nine, and that was essentially like my big break. Like I had done, Hawaii Five O, and I had done a handful of guest star roles on some smaller projects, but my big break was this movie, Disney movie, snowboarding movie called Cloud Nine, and I was so scared when I was acting on the show because the girl playing my girlfriend, Dove Cameron, at the time she was 17, and then Kiersey Clemens I think was like 19, Luke Benward was maybe 19, and they're all playing 17. Here I am, 25, maybe even 26, playing 17, and the whole time I had imposter syndrome. The whole time I'm like, oh no, somebody's gonna find out. Somebody's gonna, I'm gonna be fired tomorrow. And so it's a tough place to be for a young person. Acting is already it plays on every single insecurity that you have, and you just sort of have to trust yourself and grab your armor and just do the best you can. And so I would encourage people and not just with this situation, with every situation, before you say something nasty to somebody online about something that they can't control, you know, if it's like an actor choice or if it's an outfit you're wearing or whatever, like, sure, give your opinion. But if it's something that somebody can't control, I would maybe think twice about sharing that opinion online, especially in nasty ways, because people read it. People read it, and it hurts. And
Yeah.
we don't need that kind of negativity in our world right now.
And for me, working with young people, it has to be hard. I mean, and you can perhaps attest to this because you don't have the life experience to know how would a 17-year-old ask their father about gay sex, and then, there are some parents who might not want their daughter modeling or asking that or as an actress or an actor. And so, getting someone who has lived a little bit, I like the choice because we all can remember how it feels to be a teenager trying to hook up your cousin or your brother. And so I've had no qualms with Naja's performance as Samantha. And you're so sweet, like, stepping in there and like, talking about your experience being 25 playing 17. Okay, so Cloud9. Okay, so basically this is go look up Mike Manning's resume. He was on Days of Our Lives. He was on Cloud9, Hawaii 5 you're doing something else. You've posted about it. What is it? And I think you're the lead.
Yeah, I have a couple projects coming out. So there's a film festival this weekend in Los Angeles called Dances with Films. It's a great festival. They're premiering some pilots, and so I was in a pilot that we shot last year called The Psionicum, where it's basically like if Professor X's School for the Gifted Mutants uh, was like in an episode of The Office. So all these young people have powers, but all their powers are awful and they can't control them and they're just messy. And so it's a TV pilot that I was in. I've always wanted to play a superhero. I love comics. I love Superman. I love superheroes. Anybody that follows me on Twitter or Instagram knows. And so I got to have like electricity powers in this thing. So that was cool. So that's premiering this weekend at the festival. And then, oh no, I can't. There's another film that I have premiering. I can say this. There's a film that I have that is screening at Comic Con that I'm very excited about. I love Comic Con. The nerd in me, comic book nerd in me, is very excited for that. So I'm going to be traveling to San Diego for that. So
That's a
anybody
big one.
watching, it is, and
Yeah.
we're screening at the big theater. So anybody in San Diego, I'll post more about it when it's a little bit closer when I can talk about it. But anybody in the San Diego area, come hang out for the day, watch my movie, um, and we'll nerd out together.
I love that. I big X-Men fan. Of course, I think all of us gays like X-Men and like the comics because like we can relate to them, right? Um, yeah, and San Diego Comic-Con, that's like the biggest, like that's like the big one.
It is the big one, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the theater that we're screening is like 1,000 seat theater, and it's huge, and it's the big one, yeah. And I've gone before when I was on Teen Wolf. I went there. They loved that show, and so I went there. I was in the last season of Teen Wolf, and then as soon as we shot that, I went to Comic Con, and got to do all the parties. And I was at a party, and I bumped into Gal Gadot, and this was the year that she Wonder Woman had just come out, and I bump into her, and I just couldn't speak because she's beautiful. And then I turn around and I bump into Hugh Jackman, and he had just done Wolverine, and he's
Of
huge.
course.
And then there's Jeff Goldblum over here, and I shake his hand, and he like looks me in the eyes, and it's like I had like a moment with Jeff Goldblum, but I still don't know. I don't have the words to describe the moment. It was just such a weird, the character he plays on the Wizard, on Wicked.
Hmm.
That's how I feel like he is in
Yeah.
life. He just looked at me in the eyes, and he like shook my hand, and he's like put his other hand on top of me, and he was like, "Michael, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good, man. How are you?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"It's a very fine day, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool, sure." I don't know. It was an experience, but I loved him. Jurassic Park was one of the movies that made me want to get into movies, and so it was very cool to meet him. And I after I was done being starstruck, I talked to him about it and his
Yeah.
approach to the work. And he's such an artist that it was cool. I love. If you can't tell, I love Comic Con.
I can tell, and I think that's great. Like I've gotten to cover several Comic-Con events in my job, and I got to meet the Power Rangers. Zach and Aisha and Billy was there once, and
Yep. Okay.
I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah, so no, I get it. Like I don't dress up, and I think those people are so talented. Like I could never put together a costume, but I love going to Comic-Cons and seeing like all the creative
There was
characters.
one year I wore Spider-Man and it was full spandex, but then I had the mask on, so I just
Mhm.
walked around Comic Con and nobody knew it was me, and I just got to be Spider-Man, like anonymous.
And people wanted pictures with you, and they didn't know it was the Mike Manning underneath
They didn't
the
even know.
mask.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
How has it been now in Atlanta? And I guess being on a daily show where a lot of people are seeing you now. Are you being recognized? Like, is that like a change for you? Like, is this kind of just like, whoa, like, oh my gosh, you watch me every day and you see me?
Yeah, it kind of comes in throughout my career. I've been lucky enough to do this for a while, and so it sort of has come in waves for me. So I first was exposed to television. I was on The Real World DC on MTV back in 2010. And then so for about a year after that, I would go out and everybody would be like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you on Real World. I saw you on Real World." And then it kind of died out. And
Yeah.
then I moved to California and it was kind of like Real World for a while, and then once I did the Disney movie, then it was like all these kids from like 17 to like 7 to 17 years
Yeah.
old like was like, oh my gosh, I saw you in Cloud 9, and then that kind of died off, and then I did Teen Wolf was a good one. This Is Us, I did This Is Us, and a lot of people, my parents have never been more excited about anything than they were about This Is Us. They watch the show all the time, and that was a cool one. But yeah, there's something special about this show specifically because, like you said, it's on every day.
Hmm.
It means so much in the cultural zeitgeist right now. I think the ratings are great, and we're picking up more fans every day. And yeah, and I think something about soaps specifically, people feel like they know you a little bit more because you're in their living room every day.
Yeah.
And so I have been recognized a lot in Atlanta. I went to a Braves game, my first ever Braves game, a couple days ago. And at the Braves Stadium, there were a bunch of people come up to me, like, "Oh, Smitty, hey, Smitty, how's it going, Smitty?" They never call me Mike; they call me Smitty. And you know
Yeah.
what? I'm 100% okay with that.
Because it's keeping you employed. So yes,
It's
Smitty,
keeping me,
call
as
Smitty.
I've been called much worse than Smitty. Trust
Mm.
me. So, but it's nice. I feel like it's the fact that it shoots in Atlanta. I feel like a lot of the people here feel a loyalty or a kinship or an appreciation for the show, and I feel like outside of Atlanta, I think people just love it. I was on an air a Delta Airlines flight 3 weeks ago, and there were a bunch of friends that I happened to sit by, and they all watched the show. So we were talking about the show for whatever it was, the 2.5 hour flight, and we're drinking mimosas and we're laughing and we're talking. It was great. It was great. I'm very lucky to be a part of the show. I love that people love this show, and I just hope that we keep producing fun stuff that people keep enjoying.
We are excited to see what happens in the next month. I do have to ask, and that's been a question that I've seen like pop up on these Instagram lives. Other than your storyline, which other storylines on the show are you really invested in? And if you could play any other character, who would it be?
Oof. Okay. I really love the Ted Nicole storyline and sort of dealing with a messy breakup affair kind of thing. And I just love Daphne as an actress. And every time we have some really cool scenes coming up between Smitty and Nicole. I love every time I get to share the screen with her. And that was, I think you asked me earlier, some of my favorite scenes, setups, and the anniversary party where Leslie comes in like a tornado and it reveals
Wow.
the
Yeah.
affair and everything. And I that was a great day for me because I had like 3 lines the whole day, but I just got to watch this happen, and that was a really fun day.
Hmm.
um I really like the reveal of the secret of Martin's secret, and how his family has his back, and how Vernon and Anita and everybody, it affects everybody. It affects everybody, and it's really really an interesting way, like I said, how this unfolds. Um, I think Anita with this her singing and her career and the articulettes I think have been mentioned a couple times.
Yeah.
I love anything that involves Anita. I love because we have some cool moments that are coming up. Let's see what else. Anytime Vanessa is on screen, it is so funny. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've talked to Lauren yet. Have you talked to
Uh,
Lauren yet?
I'm planning on it. Like she told me she was doing a lot in this month. But yeah, no,
It's
she's great.
it is so much fun to watch her because off screen, kind of like me and Charlie Dale, like we are like my character on days. I like to think that I'm a little closer to Smitty. I like to think that I'm a little kinder,
Yeah,
and obviously don't have kids that I know about, but if I
that'd be something.
you know, but I and Lauren is and Vanessa are very different,
Hmm.
and I love watching Lauren step into those shoes, into those leather like stiletto
Yeah.
like heels, like whatever she's wearing that day, and just go for it because it's such a fun character. Yeah, so that's I I don't even think that we have a lot of scenes coming up together, but I just love watching her on screen. I think everybody's just doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job. And this is what's happened. Every brand new show goes through a period where we have to introduce the audience to the world. It's like that incubation stage where you have to repeat everybody's name 15 times, and you have to repeat Fairmont Crest, and you have to repeat that Martin's a congressman, and that this and this. It's like you have to get everybody used to the world. I think we're now exiting the incubation stage, and we're now going to see characters interacting that have never met before, or that we've never seen on screen together, and everybody having their like little side missions and everything else. And that's really the fun of it. Now that the audience has sort of stayed with us so far with learning the world and getting used to the tone of the show, now we get to cook with gas. Now we get to have that fun with these characters, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, you brought up Vanessa. I love the scene where you were talking to Nicole and she comes in. And Vanessa is a woman who hits on gay men. Clearly.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
she walked in and you were like, nice to see you, and she was like, it is nice to see me, isn't it? And like totally hitting on you, and Smitty's just like, okay,
Yeah,
uh
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
goodbye. Yeah, yeah. So I love that, and I love that we are going to get to see people interact with each other, because I think that's been like my favorite like part of the show, like seeing Mona and Randy talk to each other, seeing Haley and Derek talk to each other, like pulling people away from like their core, like pulling you away from Martin and Samantha and Tyrell, and having you be with Marcel, or yeah, not
Marcel
Marcel.
Malone, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Detective.
Marcel
Yeah,
Malone. Yeah, yeah. I think that is what I've been liking about these episodes in like the last month or so, like really expanding the world of these people. And I mean, you said that we're going to get to see that more here in the coming months. So we're all very very excited. And there's a season two. I have to know,
yep.
where were you whenever season two was renewed? Because everyone has like a story. Like some people were like knee deep in acting, some people were called in, some people were just on set. So where were you?
Yeah, so for me, and I know a handful of others because I was with them, they called us in for a meeting, and they didn't tell us what the meeting was about. So like I'm going in like I have to work that day, so I have my lines and I'm getting ready. And then they all call us in for like an HR meeting, and I was like, "Oof, who's in trouble? Like who spilled the storyline? Like who's in trouble? I'm here for this." And then they announced that season two was renewed. They brought out this cake. It was beautiful. It was, some of the head brass from CBS were there, and told us about how proud they are of the show and of, the people. And Michelle was there, and Sheila was there, and Julie was there, and everybody. It was just, it was great. It was such a sweet moment, because we think the show is doing well. We think people like the show, but there's a difference when you hear that season two is renewed and you have a whole nother year to do this. Everybody sort of breathes this collective sigh of relief, and it was nice. It feels like we're doing something together. And a lot of these actors have never done daytime before, so they, like, the fact that everybody gets another year to make art and share it with this community is really special.
Yeah. Well, Mike Manning, thank you so much for taking some time and spilling some tea with me here.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, you want
Um,
to? Oh wait, and then sorry, I didn't answer your last question, Cornelius. So originally, I read for Derek. I talked about this in another interview. I read for Derek, and then they had me go in for Smitty, and so for a while I didn't know. I was like, oh, is this like a firefighter, or is this like a dude with glasses? And so that's some tea that some people don't know. And I think Ben's great, and I'm happy with the way everything turned out. But
was
yeah, originally I auditioned for Derek.
was Smitty's name Smitty? Because I know Ronnie Rose said that she auditioned for Cat's role, which was like her name was Cheryl originally. So
I don't know. I know I auditioned for one of the characters was called Rick, but I don't know if that was Derek, a code name for Derek, or if that was
yeah,
Smitty's code name. I'm not sure. I don't know. I
yeah.
don't remember.
Got to keep
Yeah.
that stuff under wraps. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much again for chatting with me, spilling a little bit of tea, and we are so happy to see you on our screens 5 days. Well, 5 days a week, whenever you're
5 days
on.
a week, unless there's soccer or a national crisis. Come on. No.
Well, well, you want to know something? Being here on the West Coast, we always miss all that because people tend to do crises whenever it's like 10 a.m. here. So we have not been preempted by breaking news yet, but in this day and age, we just don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know. And listen, I think breaking news is important, especially with what's going on in the world right now. I hope we get some good news. But I don't know. Yeah, this has been great. I watch your recaps. I watch your interviews with the other actors,
Oh, thank
and
you.
it's no, of course. And thank you for taking an interest in our show. And to everybody watching or who's going to watch this, thank you for watching our show and engaging with me. If you comment on Instagram or Twitter, I try to write back. So. I'm curious, genuinely, to hear about what people think in this next month, and so I guess feel free to share. You Cornelius, feel free to share what you think, and yeah, maybe we'll talk again after the dust has settled from the bomb that's about to drop.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that you're so excited for this reveal, but like, yeah, we're excited as well because yeah, it's just everything has been building to this. Obviously, like the distant relationship, the putting all the pieces together, Martin's flashbacks. Yeah, so we're excited to see where it goes and how Mystery Man Kenny is involved as well because he's not just a busboy. We know that.
Ugh,
Um,
Kenny. Okay.
Kenny's a lot. Okay. Mike, again, thank you so much. I'm sure I'll talk to you again, perhaps in another year whenever season three has been renewed and we are celebrating more
Here we go.
time
Your
with
lips to
you.
God's ears. When season three is renewed, we'll hop back on here. And
I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can.
yeah,
Thanks
thank you,
again so
Cornelius.
much. And yeah, enjoy that muggy, hot Atlanta day.
Yeah, yeah, you too. Enjoy the sunshine.
I
Take
will.
care.
See ya.